Hello and welcome to Business Insights with Irene on Leader Network. Today we have a very special guest who is dear to my heart. I'm not sure she knows that because I haven't even mentioned. She's doing exceptionally well in the gold mining space in Nigeria. She is the managing director of K& Smith Refinery here in Nigeria and also has footprint across Africa. Her name is Emiko. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you so much. First, why gold mining? I mean, not everybody would usually wake up and say, oh, I need to set up my refinery. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of guts. And while I was doing my research about you, I also discovered that your grandmother told you stories of how, their father, while he, we're not very sure what part of, the gold work he did, but they told you about how they hid gold. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, so I think to connect the two parts of what you were saying, by the time, here we are doing something novel, or so we think. We are involved in gold mining, but from mining we're trying to develop the value chain and thinking of how to really get gold back into utility. And one thing we felt was like, we thought we had the idea that we could have little gold cubes, 1 gram, 2 gram, 5 gram cubes, that you could just have as little pieces of storage. It's easier for women to afford a 1-2 gram cube. And then I would hear from my grandma, I think we're being innovative, like, actually when they would travel, long distance travel, that's how they carried money. They didn't carry cash. They would literally just sew like little pieces of gold into like the hems of their like wrapper or clothes, and then when they get there, they just go to goldsmiths and sell it. So exactly, so it was one of those ways of realizing that sometimes you think something is innovation, but you're just really going, it's how much is really new. But yes, so back to the gold value chain, so that's where that story comes from. But we got into gold almost accidentally. We were trading commodities, we were doing other commodities, trading lead, sesame seed, and then by the time we just started studying gold, it just seemed interesting. There's gold in Nigeria, but who would know what's going on? So in our research and looking at the gold that's here, the gold that's mined, seeing the opportunity in the value chain for Nigeria, especially with our culture of jewelry, especially in the north, we realized that this is a space to go into. So this is why eventually, after really studying the data, the patterns, we realized the only way this is going to really make sense to turn this into a market is if we refine our own gold here. So that's really the short story of how eventually we got into the decision to go into gold refining.
All right, so you've been in this business for by the end of 2022, it'll be 11 years, and you started with mining and exploration before you went into refining. And your company was actually the first to be licensed, to have the refining license here in Nigeria. How did that come about?
So it came about, to be honest, with the exploration. Exploration is a very long-term project. So by the time we were in exploration, we started out, we were several years into it, but there's a company now that most people know about, Secular Gold Mining, Ocean State, Thor Exploration. It took that company over 20 years to develop the mine. They only started producing several months ago. It's a success story. It took decades. And so we were looking at where we were and we said, we don't know that we have decades to bring this asset into production. And so that was what spurred us to look and see that the way the artisanals were working. Artisanal mining has its issues, but overall there were pathfinders. And we started observing, okay, so how much are these guys producing? What's going on with the gold they are producing? Where is it going? Is it being processed? And then we observed a very interesting phenomenon in Nigeria, that you'd even find that local gold in Nigeria, unrefined gold, there are seasons in Nigeria where it's more expensive than international market price. And then you start observing that a lot of gold is flowing in from the other parts of West Africa into Nigeria. So just by the time we're following this data and we're seeing quite a demand informally for gold in Nigeria, we had to look and say, where is this going? Does this make sense? This gold is being mined, it's disappearing in this trade vacuum. And that's where eventually we realize if the gold price in Nigeria is so expensive compared even to Ghana locally, unless you add value, you're not going to be able to compete. So this was part of what really spurred getting the refinery going. So that's where all the data came from, and we said we have to refine. And if you're not refining, you can't compete with the prices that are going on here because gold is in such high demand.
And what, in terms of purity level,
Yes.
what have you seen exploring and refining gold here in Nigeria?
I think, so the gold in Osun is very good. What I mean very good, very pure. High quality rather. You
Help
find
people
gold-
understand, you know, we have 14
Yes,
karat, 18
exactly.
karat and the likes.
Very high quality gold. So if 24 karat is pure, you will find gold in Osun 22.6, 23 karat.
Wow.
Sometimes even 23.6 unrefined. Yeah, so the gold in Osun is just that high quality. Now in like Zamfara, you see a range. You could see gold that's 22 karat, 18 karat, even like 10, as low as 10. Niger, yeah, you could see a range you could see 18, you could also see 22. So it's very, all over Nigeria where you find gold, it's very diverse in terms of quality or range, but the gold in Osun overall, in general, is a very high grade.
All right, so at this point, I mean, our viewers, I really want them to know and understand how the gold market works, because at the end of the day, not everybody may necessarily want to start up a gold refining company as you have done, or go into exploration. Some may not even have the financial capacity to do that. But we know that gold is a financial instrument. It's also a way you can also store value. So for those people who want to sort of start to invest, what are the different product lines that you have?
So we, as I mentioned, we have little products. We have gold cubes, 1, 2, 5 gram gold cubes. We make gold bars, also silver. We don't mention silver, but we do silver as well. Coins, well, we call them medallions, not coins. So we make medallions, they look like the shape of coins. And for people who are goldsmiths or people in the industry, we make wire. We make gold wire, we make gold sheets on request, demand. So that's what those are the products we make when we refine them.
I mean, gold, we know that for the gold wires, for those who are wondering, it's a good conductor of electricity, for example. So we use them for our computers and the likes. However, I reckon that, you know, some people now are looking for alternative, you know, ways to do that process and not necessarily using gold.
Yeah.
But now, with the research and development, right, what have you found in terms of our appetite, gold appetite here in Africa, within the Nigerian region, and, you know, across board as well?
I think what I found very interesting, I'm just going to go back a bit to what guided our decision in doing the refinery. We would find out that the World Gold Council did not really have much information for Africa. Let me explain what I mean. So if you look at charts, when you say a gold market, there's no gold market center in Africa. London's a gold market, Singapore, Dubai, India, America, there's gold market centers, and they don't look at Africa as a potential market for gold. They're developing markets in Russia, in China, in Europe, in the Middle East, and they don't look at Africa as a market potential for gold consumption. But we just found out that that's just because, like I said, we know our culture. The amount of gold that women are buying in northern Nigeria, there's just no formal data, but it's extraordinary. In 2018 in Sabon Gari, you'd have about 20,000 unique visitors from the region coming there to buy gold. This is 2018. I mean, a lot's happened in the economy now. I don't know what it is, but that was very significant then. And then you have a place like Sudan, where in northern Sudan you have a lot of women that do not have bank accounts. But they're very rich in gold. They use gold to buy property. They just trade in gold. So let's talk about gold jewelry. With so many issues in Africa in terms of manufacturing, power, brain drain, we're not really manufacturing jewelry as much. Part of that also is most of the gold that we're producing here, because of FX and other things, are just going out. So even if you wanted to manufacture jewelry here, you're going to have a hard time accessing gold. So for many reasons, you find that jewelry is not being produced. It's now easier, instead, for us to go buy jewelry, say in the Middle East or India, and import it. And just because of a lot of monetary policy, import-export rules, a lot of that jewelry is coming in not documented. So bottom line of what I'm trying to say is the data that will prove that Africa is a very viable market for gold is not easily accessible. So what I will say is, but from our research and what we see, it's very clear that Africa wants gold. They just need access to gold. And all this, coming back to what we were saying about product, is what has led for us to have this pull and drive, what we call it gold to the people. Gold to the people. The whole essence of Sanu is, how do you get gold to the people? And most people don't want gold in huge volumes, and that's what happened with trade. All the gold has been going towards who can buy gold in big volumes, and that just bypasses the people, the jewelers, the person who just wants 5 grams. But now we've created this system where we can get gold to the people. What do you want? 5 grams, 1 gram, even a little fraction of a gram that you can't afford, we'll give you access to.
So how they get access to as little as 1 gram, 2 grams? What platforms currently exist?
So we created this platform, Ken Smith, called Sanu. So Sanu is a Bambara word for gold. Bambara is a major language that's spoken in Mali, West Africa, where the whole idea is, look, gold, buy silver. So you go on there and it allows you for as little as 500 naira to access gold, a little fraction, and then you just keep buying your gold, and when it gets up to 1 gram, right now 1 gram of gold is about 38,000 naira, it's a lot. When you have up to 1 gram, if you physically want to collect it, you can. If you don't want to collect it, you want us to store it for you, we can. If you say to us, sell it, I want my money back, there you go, we do that. So this way, there's so many, giving you different ways to access gold. If you want to store it yourself, you can. And at the same time, what Sanu is going to do as well is also connect jewelers. So this way, it also allows you to buy jewelry through Sanu. And when you're done, because this is something that happens to a lot of women I know, if you don't have an emotional attachment to the jewelry, after the function, you may want your money back. You're not really sure what you want to do with it. I don't want to be storing this kind of jewelry. So Sanu allows you, for example, this is a classic example I give. You have a northern woman who's getting married. She has 3 sisters, 2 aunties, and they're all putting money, gold together for her. Well, this way, everyone could just have Sanu, send it to her. She goes to a jeweler. She picks how much jewelry she wants, to use for the whole occasion. And when she's done, return it back to Sanu.
Literally.
Yes, literally back to Sanu. And there, you're in between Sanu. If you want jewelry again, go to jewelry. If you want to take it in another form of gold, do it. If you just want to take your money back, go that way. So yeah, so that's just really what Sanu is.
Wow. So I mean, I know that there are things we call bullions, that's
Yes.
like the bars itself.
Exactly.
Where can people pick this by the time they buy gold from Sanu, for example?
Yes.
By the way, Sanu, it's a mobile app.
Yeah.
It is, so you can download it and do all of your purchasing there. Very seamless and user-friendly, I reckon. So where can people pick these items by the time they purchase?
So when you make a purchase, you do a pickup request if you want to pick it up. So you can pick it up for now in our 2 custodian locations in Lagos and Abuja, Bankers Warehouse and Union Bank soon. But Bankers Warehouse, we have people who've been picking up in Bankers Warehouse here in Lagos and in Abuja. Soon, you'll be able to pick it up as well in our shop in Kano, Nadubai, and Union Bank. So Union Bank, when that comes on board, will be those locations in those 3 cities. But for now, you pick it up from our custodian partner, Bankers Warehouse in Lagos, Abuja, and soon in our shop in Kano.
Excellent.
I should mention that also in November, you'll be able to pick it up in Dubai as well. So Dubai will come on, and then subsequently you'll be able to pick it up in London. But Dubai is the next one that will be rolled out in November.
So I mean, we see that, still talking about investment. So with what has been going on, let's use Nigeria as a focus now, in terms of the value of our currency depreciating. One thing people would usually just run to is changing all of their monies to dollars.
Yeah.
Help people understand, as an expert in this field, that gold is a financial instrument and also an excellent store of value. Because I saw something during the pandemic. Even the stock market prices for some companies were plummeting, but the value of gold kept on rising.
Well, as you say, what we recommend, and the good thing with Sanu now is that we sell LBMA gold. So LBMA is London Bullion Market Association. So once gold has that, should I say certification, and we also sell gold as legal tender. So let me explain what I mean. We're selling gold from the British Royal Mint, Royal Canadian Mint, the American Mint, Brand Refinery. So once you buy those gold coins, it's legal tender. So if you have those coins, you go to your country, it's instant pounds. So another way is if you really do need FX, just buy the gold. So instead of looking for PTA, just buy the gold coins, keep them. And whenever you're going to London or wherever you are, just present it at the bank or anywhere. They'll give you the currency of that country because they're gold. It's a legal tender that's recognized. That's if you're looking for FX. If you're not looking for FX, same thing we're saying. It's also a good store of value. I shouldn't say better. Depends on everyone has their opinion. But in this case as well, one could just start buying and investing in gold.
So you've heard from the experts, invest in gold. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back shortly.